like to recognize our walkout team tonight. They're from USA Youth Sports All-Stars. That's our walkout team accompanying both teams onto the field. Our ball kids for tonight's match, the 03 Girls SASC Evolution. We thank them for their participation and help. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, if I could have you all please stand and remove your caps as we honor America with the singing of our national anthem. Our anthem will be performed tonight by Jennifer Pyatt. We'd also like to salute our color guard for tonight's match. They're from Davis-Monthan Air Force Base.
Hello everyone and welcome back to MLSsoccer.com's coverage of the 2015 Desert Diamond Cup. We're joined by viewers via ColoradoRapids.com and RealSaltLake.com for the finale. Rocky Mountain rivals RSL and the Rapids. Richard Fleming and Brian Dunseth in the booth. Let's run you through the two lineups, starting with the Colorado Rapids. In goal, Clint Owen. A back four of James Riley, Bobby Burling, Axel Sjoberg and Michael Harrington. The two central midfield players, Sam Cronin and Marcelo Savas. The three across the middle, Vicente Sanchez, Gabby Torres and Dylan Cerner. Don Bacci is the man up top. Dunny, Real Salt Lake.
That's a good look at what potentially could be the starting 11 on opening day, minus Damar Phillips and Joao Plata. Nick Raimondo in goal, Abdoulaye Mansali, Chris Schuler, Jamison Olave, Tony Beltran across the back line, Kyle Beckman, Luis Gil sitting in front of that back four, Javier Morales at the point of the triangle, Olmes Garcia over on the left wing, Sebastian Jaime over on the right, and up top, Alvaro Sabarillo.
Now you'll notice here that Real Salt Lake are wearing... Well, Danny, these are their training tops, aren't they?
Training tops, yep.
They're training tops because those that have not been across social media where this news was announced about 3/4 of an hour ago, the two teams had very similar looking kits. So, a coin toss. Real Salt Lake did not win that coin toss, and so the Rapids are playing in their burgundy jerseys. Real Salt Lake are in their training tops tonight.
Just when we thought we were away from the white and gold, blue and black, we've got two teams having to go to a coin toss in preseason. It'll be an interesting matchup, though. Two teams that are very unapologetic for their defensive style on the field, and obviously with the Rocky Mountain Cup implications, two teams that, quite frankly, just don't really like each other the moment that whistle blows.
Well, it was certainly very much advantage Real Salt Lake in 2014. Overpowered the Rapids on each of the three occasions they met, including a 5-1 humbling at Rio Tinto. Exuding quality and class on that night, Real Salt Lake putting the Rapids to the sword. And well, all sportsmen and women have very long memories, and the Rapids felt that, and they felt that most painfully. A lot of new faces on this Rapids side, but it has been drilled into them. But this is where their season starts. The last game of pre-season as we get underway. The Rapids kicking it off, kicking from left to right in this first half. So not Philadelphia away next weekend. This, in their mind, from a mentality and competitive element, this is the first game. And I've been told the first 15 minutes could be a little tasty.
Yeah, and I'm really interested to see how the Colorado Rapids look without Dylan Powers and Deshaun Brown, two mainstays, two younger players in this league, but two players that really carved out a nice little niche for themselves in the Rapids, and both of those players starting tonight's match on the bench.
Yes, 2013 MLS Rookie of the Year and runner-up, Dylan Powers and Deshaun Brown. Deshaun Brown leading scorer for the last two seasons, his first seasons in Major League Soccer, 10 goals. Trialist James Riley, been around the league, been around the clubs. De Torres, Savas wriggling away, just clipped there by Morales. Already, because these players, even the unfamiliar faces, but the two teams as a whole know each other, you can already see some nice matchups. Yeah,
well, I think in particular for Real Salt Lake, it's the reintroduction of Jamison Olave across the back line after losing Nap Borchers. No more Ned Grabavoy, no more Chris Wingert. Damar Phillips, who I think could be one of the strongest offseason acquisitions. Once he's back in the lineup, he'll compete alongside Abdoulaye Mansali for that left fullback spot. But losing guys like Sebastian Velasquez, Carlos Salcedo, what does this group look like? And right off the bat in preseason, Jeff Cassar has adjusted the formation, adjusted the shape, because you've got the speed and athleticism back across the back line for Real Salt Lake. You're going to go with potentially a three-man front line. you get Luis Gil in a more natural central attacking midfield position.
Sanchez from Torres. Torres has got 2 goals in this tournament so far. Heavy. Pitanari drilling that one towards Badji. Real Salt Lake bring the ball away. That is a thumping challenge from Axel Sjoberg.
Oh, strong Swedish tackle right in the midfield. 6'6", goes down strong, all ball, gets a big part of Javier Morales. Morales gets up immediately. Good job by the referee to keep his whistle in the pocket.
Harrington. Badji's making the run. That's got too much on it, and it's a little wayward from Harrington, formerly of Portland Timbers. Nick Armando in the 3rd minute already getting word to Kyle Beckerman.
And this is a work in progress for Real Salt Lake, because for so many years they were the ones that played in the diamond, and they were the only ones that really played in that diamond the right way and had a lot of success under difficult circumstances. But I think a lot of fans felt like maybe people were starting to figure out the diamond as Real Salt Lake aged a little bit year after year. Now figuring out a way to get more speed and athleticism across the back line, getting Luis Gil into the starting 11 alongside Beckerman, alongside Javier Morales. And then once Joao Plata comes back from that 5th metatarsal injury suffered on the first day of training, what does this front 3 look like? Omes Garcia, Sebastian Jaime, and then Alvaro Saborio. All guys that have strength and athleticism, and then you have Sabo with the big point striker that year after year seems to continually find the back of the net.
That change away from the diamond, is that permanent? Is that something that potentially, if the opposition demands it, that can be brought back? Or also is it commanded by personnel within the current side?
Yeah, I think the one great thing for Real Salt Lake is
Sabrio's offside.
The one good thing about having that diamond in the back pocket is you can always revert to it if you need to. But I think what Jeff Cassar has recognized with this athletic group of front runners and bringing DeMar Phillips and Jamison back is they're able to recover a little bit, so they can take a little bit more chances getting their most athletic, most attack-minded players on the field.
Marcelo Savas, one of 9 new signings, new arrivals for the Rapids during the off-season.
Yeah, really excited to see how Sarvas fits into this central midfield role. I think wrongly so, he was overshadowed by Juninho in LA, but consistently over the last 3 years, he's proven to be a difference maker, a player that plays both sides of the balls and connects well with the front runners.
And of course, Sam Cronin, who's on the bench. There are options for the Rapids, and I think it's no secret that where they struggled was down the middle. Defensive midfield and central defence, certainly when the likes of Shane O'Neill and Drew Moore, Jared Watts, who was the backup to those two, they went down injured. It was a very brittle spine that the Rapids had, and they were unpicked on a number of occasions. Very soft underbelly they had, but they certainly looked to make changes and strengthen in that department during the off-season.
Yeah, I really like what Pablo's been able to do, and he strengthened his spine. Well, it looks like this man in particular, Gabi Torres, has been very, very sharp after being incredibly inconsistent last season. I like the pieces of the puzzle as they start to come together for Colorado, and I think there'll still be some ups and downs, but you look at what this group is starting to do as a unit and some of the players that are available off the bench, and Pablo's going to have some tough choices to make throughout the course of the season, based on form, based on injury, based on suspension.
And on the bench also tonight is the young DP Juan Ramirez, signed a couple of weeks ago, or just over a week ago in fact. Arriving from Argentinos Juniors. A certain Diego Maradona, I recall playing for them in the very early days of his career.
Yeah, it's good to see James Riley back on the field after last season earning that starting spot to start the year with the LA Galaxy, and then contemplating retirement as he fought his way back, and the disappointment of missing out on basically a full year. But he seems to have settled in well. I saw him last Saturday and had a smile on his face as usual. He had the love of the game back. He got that itch and wasn't ready to walk away after contemplating it for a few weeks.
He's been in camp for the last 10 days, James Riley. Sitting in a rather experienced Axel Sjoberg's side, a very experienced back four with Michael Harrington on the left-hand side, then Sjoberg, Bobby Burling, and James Riley. Sjoberg, though, has, before going to college in the US, did see some time in Sweden at Djurgården.
Yeah, I called a couple of his college games in the Big East tournament, and what impresses you is his presence. He's great in the air and composed with the ball at his feet.
Danger here, 2 against 3, at the back post, comfortably does it. Garcia with the goal, 8 minutes in, outnumbered the Rapids, and Real Salt Lake strike first.
A build-up play down the right-hand side for Real Salt Lake. Overlapping movement, simple possession creates an opportunity for Luis Gil just inside the 18-yard box. As he gets his head up, he bypasses the first run of Alvaro Saborio and just sitting at the back door for the simple tap-in, Olmes Garcia. And a quick sneak peek at what having 3 forwards up top will do. Sabo's not by himself. You've got multiple numbers in the box, and even when that ball bypasses, you've got that delayed late run from a wide player. Real Salt Lake finds himself up early in this game.
Well, that is something that certainly during the Desert Diamond Cup, the Rapids, it's been alien. They've taken the lead in all 3 of their previous games. The first 2, the opposition came back to tie. Sporting Kansas City 2-2. The Rapids having led 2-0 and been very comfortable, as was the case in a number of these games for all teams. A lot of chopping and change. Gabby Torres offside.
No, that's an important goal, Richard, for Olmes Garcia. A very similar situation to what Joao Plata found himself last year with the long-term injury layoff to Robbie Finley. Joao Plata was able to take advantage of that, with Plata breaking his 5th metatarsal on the first day of training in Salt Lake before they headed down to Arizona. Olmes Garcia recognizing that he's got a great chance to be the starter in this left wing capacity from the opening whistle of opening day.
Reminder, this is the finale of the 2015 Desert Diamond Cup. You can see some trophies down below us. There's a golden boot, there's an MVP, there's a defender of the cup, the best defender, and of course the trophy itself. Real Salt Lake beaten finalists in 2013, Seattle getting the better of them on that occasion. But they've got their noses in front here, and early on. Sanchez turns his man.
Oh, that little chop right there from Vicente Sanchez, you know it's coming, and there's really nothing you can do about that.
Harrington, they're queuing up in the middle. Plenty of Real Salt Lake bodies back, though. Headed clear, as far as Riley.
As you keep an eye on this new formation for Real Salt Lake, also keep an eye on the partnership of Jamison Olave and Chris Schuler. Schuler was kind of under the tutelage of both Olave and Borchers before Olave went to New York Red Bull. Didn't really have a chance to play significant minutes alongside Olave.
Cerna teasing one in. Sanchez not on his favoured foot. And that's high over the top of the bar.
And a very good job from the Colorado Rapids, putting Real Salt Lake off a little bit. That teeter-totter effect of defending Abdoulaye Mansali has to be a little bit more aware sitting on that back post as he's the outside left back. When that service comes in from his right-hand defensive side, he's got to cover that shoulder of Chris Schuler, but the last thing he can afford to do is let that ball sneak past him and find an offensive player in space beyond his right shoulder.
A little break in play here. The referee is having words with Saborio and Axel Sjoberg.
No, we saw Sjoberg mixing it up a week ago with Dom Dwyer. Again, 2 players that are uncompromising in their physical build-up, the way they dig into each other. They're battling for position constantly. And Saborio is a player that's never, ever going to shy away from that contact. Burling's got to be a little bit careful right there. Sticks the arm up, little flying elbow right to the back of the neck of Alvaro Saborio.
Right in front of the referee, and just seconds after a conversation of sorts had been had on the matter.
That's one of the best parts about being a center back, is if one guy gets into trouble, the other center back can kind of step in and lay down his own personal law. But set piece opportunity, and this is where Colorado's got to be careful, especially with a guy like Javier Morales and the consistency and quality with his service.
Morales, whose goal separated the 2 sides at Dick's Sporting Goods Park last year. If memory serves me right, Nick Raimondo was in very good form that day to keep the Rapids at bay.
I think even going back to 2005, any time these 2 teams play each other, There's something about this rivalry that brings out the best performances in the teams themselves, but also the individual players.
There's a few afters there. He's got to be careful, pre-season or not. The referee's had words with Bobby Burling. I think he might now have a word with Alvaro Sabri, who's got himself a yellow card.
Yeah, and rightly so. Rightly so. Absolutely. And that's a form of personal retaliation for the last challenge from Bobby Burling when he kind of put the forearm into the neck of Alvaro Sabrio. That challenge, anytime a center back takes a heavy touch to the sideline and is looking to play a long ball up the line, you allow an attacking player to take that angle and come through either with the tackle or the hard shoulder. And Alvaro Sabrio knew exactly what he was doing, absolutely deserves the yellow card. And he just now needs to, for the final 75 minutes or so, make sure that he keeps himself under control.
Well, we've seen a few red cards at this tournament. Not something you want to see in a pre-season. Rather, the referee asked the coach to withdraw the player and keep it at 11v11, but that's where we've been.
Yeah, not too sure it's going to happen between these two teams as well as a final. Both teams playing very, very well with first team and second teams in this tournament.
Owen going long. Out of play.
And the one thing with Sabrio, keep an eye on him, because when individual situations like this start to flare up, this is what gets him going. This is what fires him up, that me versus you mentality. And his scoring record, not only Major League Soccer, but internationally for Costa Rica, I think proves that he's a player that kind of thrives on those one-on-one battles.
Out of play on this near side for the Rapids, trailing to Olmos Garcia goal after just 8 minutes. And that won't have impressed Pablo Mastroeni, who was keen for his side to stand strong and get in the face of the opposition in the opening 15 minutes. Certainly let them know that they're in a contest. Well, I think we've seen evidence of that. They've also conceded a goal, the Rapids.
Yeah, and Richard, I would say also maybe keep in mind the performances of the referees tonight. Pro announced a few days ago already the first weekend round of games and who's going to be in charge. So I think you're going to probably see these referees be a little bit more cavalier in their approach, as opposed to knowing that those spots for the opening weekend could potentially be on the line depending on how their games go.
Well, this is all good for the fans, because as fans sometimes you can end up going to a pre-season and it can be rather like watching a procession, but this has got some bite and a bit of snap to it.
Just watching Twitter right now, it's exploding between these two teams.
Well, it's first blood to Real Salt Lake. They have the lead here. Morales teasing the ball to Sabrio, back to Morales, trying to curl one. He did well there. He didn't have a great deal of room, not a great deal of backlift, and still got some bend on the ball.
Good balance in possession for Real Salt Lake. Good decision making as Javier Morales just plays combination passes with Alvaro Sabrio. Morales just opened up his hips, top of the 18-yard box, looks to curl, pick out that upper left-hand corner behind Corinne Irwin.
The only competition for his starting place for next weekend against Philadelphia Union will be John Berner. Zach McMath, my understanding is, under the terms of the loan, would not be able to play against his mother club. Low ball in. Torres, and it's just taken off his boot. And I think we're going to have a card here for Kyle Beckham. And there was a coming together between Beckham and Sanchez. Referee allowed play to continue. And a few words after from Kyle Beckham. He's got to be careful here.
Beckerman got a big part of the jersey. He pulled down Vicente Sanchez in that left build-up. Gives the thumbs up over to the bench just to let everyone know that he's fine, that he's okay. But second early yellow card we've seen handed out to Real Salt Lake.
We know dissent is one of the aspects the referees are looking to stamp out this season. You could see there the referee just tapping his mouth, saying, just keep quiet.
Yeah, I think, Richard, as long as you cover your mouth when you're having those conversations, you could probably say whatever you want. But when the players are very visibly open in how they're demonstrating in front of the referee, I think that's where the referees are starting to take a little bit more exception.
Well, cameras pick up so much as well, don't they, these days, Danny? And, this is a league that they're wanting to showcase around the world.
Yep.
And it's all about image and showing the right kind of image as well. Late from James Riley there on Garcia. It's just getting a little bit tetchy over the last few minutes. Just going to have to... It's been simmering. The referee's going to be busy, I think.
Yeah, you talked about that first 15 minutes before these two teams. Both teams trying to establish the rhythm, establish possession, but also establish that defensive bite and presence in the midfield. And it only took 13 minutes for the first yellow card to be handed out. The first meeting of the Rocky Mountain Cup teams. Again, this type of game, this type of atmosphere has the ability to showcase kind of potentially a preview of what we're going to see between these two teams for 2015.
And I think sometimes people don't always remember the Rocky Mountain. They look at other rivalries within Major League Soccer, and this one doesn't always spring to mind. Maybe because of the dominance that Real Salt Lake have had in that particular coming together, that particular series. But I think we're going to see a very, very different one. Well, there's the first one. It's like back in England we have fun fairs where they have a coconut shy. There's one of the trophies that's just been knocked over. 1 down, 3 to go. You get 10 points for that one, 15 for the trophy itself. 19 minutes gone. Axel Sjoberg and Saborio, shoulder to shoulder. Nicely worked there by Garcia to Beckerman. Morales. Mansolet. It's going to just creep out of play. The first game of the season for the Rapids, March 7th, away at Philadelphia Union. For Real Salt Lake, they're also on the road at Portland Timbers on that same day. Kickoff 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time. It's a 2 p.m. kickoff in Philadelphia for the Rapids. That game on Altitude TV for Real Salt Lake fans. You can see the match at Portland live on KMYU. Mansolet pushing and probing down this left-hand side once again. Morales collects. It's Sanchez chasing. Back to Morales. Going to move the ball quickly. Sjoberg's big frame gets in the way. Bachi.
Well, right there you get a good look and a good glimpse. The return of Jamison Olave, 2 years older, but still that same speed, strength, athleticism. And the trick to Jamison is when you know he's really sprinting, it's like a turtle peeking his head out. That's when he's really going 100%. The rest of the time, he's just in cruise control.
I think Bachi saw about 3 strides and thought better of it. Morales. Garcia. Little change of speed. Mansolet queuing up now. Real Salt Lake was gifted away, gifted back in fact.
Good ball.
Riley to Sanchez, back to Riley again.
Yeah, these are the type of turnovers Real Salt Lake needs to find a good balance with.
Sona's giving chase. Well, there's that turtle.
Yeah, he's really one of those guys. The way he's built, it's if you could ever build a character in a FIFA game, you would use Jamison Olave as the guy you'd want to build. 6'3", 200 pounds, just pure muscle, size, and strength. He's just kind of the ultimate center back in this league and has been for years.
Saborio, first touch a little heavy. Pitanari. Not seen too much of him in the early stages. Bachi offside.
I think right now for Colorado, it's defensively chasing a little bit, trying to establish a little bit better possession. When they do not only compete for that first ball, but that second ball, how quickly can they release pressure in a positive manner, not just going side to side, but looking to find the feet of Gabby Torres. He's got to be the player that's finding those creases, finding those passing lanes, the moment that any of the outside backs find themselves in possession with their head looking forward.
A big education for Axel Sjoberg at one end against Alvaro Sabria, a huge one for Don Badgie at the other.
You know, what I do like seeing from Axel Sjoberg is it's off camera, but I'm just watching the way he communicates across the back line. And even for a young player and having an established veteran like Bobby Burling playing off his shoulder, you can imagine a fit Drew Moore and what that potential partnership could look like. Center backs, they always rely on their relationships alongside of each other and what the shape looks like, but not too often are you going to see a young player have communication and physically be demanding of what the defenders and the central midfielders in front of them are looking like.
You've got a Shane O'Neill in there as well. There's we talk about depth defensively, which is something that the Rapids were exposed in last year. A little heavy from Sanchez, just Harrington rocking on his heels a little bit. He stayed forward. Beltran looking to close the space down. Pitanari trying to move the ball quickly. Real Salt Lake can break. Morales, they're outnumbered at the moment. Sabreo just checks his run. Ball through the middle. He's onside. This could be number 2, and he's cleared off the line by Bobby Burling. Wonderfully timed run there. I think it was Garcia once again.
Great job from Javier Morales. Gets his head up as he delays, recognizing Sabrio's pulled himself into an offside position. A little stutter. He pulls Sarvas a little bit closer, and that delayed run from Omes Garcia. A looping, arcing run, and that ball played on the deck as he sidesteps Clint Irwin. Bobby Burling recognizing he's got to cover the goalkeeper's back line, cover his back shoulder. Great defensive decision from Burling.
Burling, who's heading home in a sense, a Colorado native. Used to watch the Rapids as a youngster at Mile High Stadium. He's 6'5". Sjoberg at closer to 6'7". He'll tell you 6'7.5", but he's tall. Sanchez getting stuck in. Good work there.
I do like the confidence for Real Salt Lake to try to play themselves out of pressure. The problem is you just can't turn the ball over in your final third, especially in a one-on-one situation. When that ball doesn't settle for Chris Schuler, he's just got to pump it into the stands, recognizing Vicente Sanchez does a great job applying immediate pressure and recognizes when that ball's up in the air, it's going to be difficult for the big center back to settle that with his first touch.
Sanchez took a little time to get over to the corner flag there. I'm not sure whether he's 34, just feeling it a little bit. A few comings together.
As a player, I think that every Colorado Rapids fan hopes stays as healthy as possible.
Drilled in towards the near post. That could end up anywhere. To Riley. Back to Sanchez. Stayed onside. Back to Riley again. One of the big fellas have stayed up. Sjoberg, the target man at the back post. And Raimondo.
That's a good weighted ball to the back post, and that's 6'7.5" center back just rising up, looking for the snap down header. Can't keep it on frame, just kind of floats away from him at the last second. And easy for Nick Raimondo to just parry, take away from his right hand side.
Morales on this near side, little looping 9-iron.
That's a good touch from Luis Gil. Settles quickly, looks to combine, and a little triangle passing with Saborio, but good recovery run right there. Marcelo Sarvas stepping in, right place, right time. Last little touch.
Well, MLS Live is back for 2015. Watch hundreds of out-of-market matches on your computer, phone, tablet, Roku, Apple TV, and Chromecast media player. Buy now for just $74.99. Visit MLSsoccer.com for more information and blackout rules as well. Almost Garcia's goal, separating these two sides after 8 minutes. Ball through from Sanchez to Badji. Sanchez carried on his run, as has Torres. To Pitanari, finding Sanchez. Just a clip looking for Cerna. That'll roll out of play. Goal kick to Real Salt Lake.
Yeah, great job right there from Badji. Gets himself down into the offensive third, gets his head up, looks to combine. Pitanari goes inside, little clipped in ball, and that delayed run from Cerna. Cerna, a player that I personally have high hopes for this year. I think being able to watch him with the U.S. men's national team and training and seeing the confidence he's gained as he's continued to get minutes last season and then this year, I think he's kind of a hybrid player that can play a lot of different positions. But this year, I think Pablo has a lot of belief in him. And throughout the course of preseason, I think he's looked sharp. I think his movement's been fantastic, and I think he's found himself in some very dangerous spots, all while handling his defensive responsibilities.
Yeah, he's one of those players that off the field he's quite shy and almost introvert.
Yep.
He just comes alive. This is his stage. This is where he feels most comfortable. Petinari finds Harrington. Turnover there. Could be problems here for Real Salt Lake. Miscue there from Petinari. Sanchez with a drive. Spilled by Raimondo. And there's the follow-up. And there is the equaliser. And it is that man, Dylan Cerna, has leveled things up. 28 minutes gone. It's Colorado Rapids 1, Real Salt Lake 1.
It all starts for Real Salt Lake. Poor decision in possession going across the field back to the big center back, Jamison Olave. The immediate pressure, he's forced to put Tony Beltran under pressure. And immediately Colorado recognizing that they've got an opportunity to step with numbers. Harrington looks for the run of Petinari. As that ball falls kindly to Vicente Sanchez, that's the left foot that not too many goalkeepers in this league want to see. He keeps his shot on frame. The buckling movement forces Raimondo to parry. And right place, right time. Great job from Dylan Cerna just to follow that up, find himself uncontested with a tap-in.
And what you could see from that replay as well, Danny, was that he was anticipating that Cerna. You could see him as Sanchez was lining up to drill that ball goalwards. He was just gambling, taking that gamble. See if the ball would be spilled by Nick Raimondo.
And a perfect example of what I was just talking about with Cerna is he's such an honest player on both sides of the ball. And I think he did a great job in just recognizing that the opportunity was there to follow up. And you got to be proactive in decision-making to score a goal like that.
So 1-1 in the final of the 2015 Desert Diamond Cup. Approaching the half-hour mark. It's been anything but laboured as pre-season friendlies, and I use that in loose terms. These two sides, these two rivals, as Danny's suggested, trying to steal a march ahead of the Rocky Mountain Cup meetings later in the year.
And I think, Richard, we've seen the positives of this new shape and identity for Real Salt Lake with the Holmes Garcia tap-in at the far post, but we also have seen some of the weaknesses by going away from the diamond. It's only Kyle Beckerman sitting in that role by himself right now. Luis Gill's going to play a little bit higher. So Real Salt Lake has to make better decisions with the ball across the back line. And rule number one defensively, never play backwards centrally if you recognize there's pressure coming.
Well, that's something that the Rapids have been working on as well, certainly for their offense. How do three players close down the space occupied by four? And it's basically marshalling, splitting the difference, if you like. And that is maybe what forced the turnover that led to the goal. Pressuring the man that's not quite got the ball under control. He's back to you, or his first touch is a little heavy. Into the last 15 minutes of the first half. Savas under pressure. Free kick, though, goes the way of the Rapids.
Keep an eye on Javier Morales and Marcelo Sarvas. There's a history between those two players, and it goes back to the playoffs last year, the 5-0 loss that Real Salt Lake suffered on the road at the LA Galaxy. Sarvas and Javier Morales coming together early and often in that match, and right there you see Javier Morales, a player that gets kicked quite a bit in this game or in this league. Not afraid to leave a boot in late and just let Sarvas know that if he's going to take that heavy first touch, Javier is going to try to close him down immediately.
I think, as we said very early on, there's a number of mouth-watering contests, individual contests across this field. And that will be one of them. It's been intriguing to see the likes of Petinari, who won't be familiar with this league as such, and certainly not the edge that this contest brings. He might be after this first 45 minutes.
Yeah, and it's that way for a lot of young foreign players coming to this league. It's not the technical ability that separates them most often. It's usually the mentality and who can settle in quickly, who can gather speed as quickly as possible and understand the dynamics of the travel, the time difference, the altitude. All of those things come into play. And for some it's easy, for others it's much more difficult.
Fantasy Soccer Manager is here. Create your team and join leagues to show you the best fantasy manager in the league. We're offering $10,000 in prizes. Visit MLSsoccer.com for details. A little wild there from Michael Harrington. Now to Cerner, under pressure. Savas, the Pitanari. Torres wasn't expecting that. He's retrieved it. Sanchez scampering through. He's got Badji outside him. Is he going to go it alone? Now he finds Badji, heavy, and Raimondo equal to the task.
And again, Vicente Sanchez took a huge challenge off the ball as he was looking to be rewarded for that combination play with Badji. Gets his head up, and just that little bit of a dip. You've got to respect his left foot so much that as he comes back across, if Badji plays off the left foot back across, I think he's got an uncontested opportunity. Vicente Sanchez just inside the penalty spot, but took a physical bump off the ball as he was trying to get to the spot before Chris Schuler came across. And right there you can see that he's saying to Badji with that right arm pulling down, he's saying, you got to play me back. If I'm going to combine, you've got to reward me for that run.
Schuler going long, looking for options. Trying to pick out Sabarillo.
That's one thing that Colorado's two center backs won't mind dealing with, is any ball up over the top. 6'4", 6'7". Not too often are you going to see Alvaro Sabarillo outmatched in a one-on-one situation with the ball in the air.
Mansali. Olave picks out Riley. Back to Beckerman.
I've been impressed with how Colorado's kind of settled down after conceding that early goal. Finding a little bit better of possession. I think Real Salt Lake's still doing a good job moving the ball around and forcing Colorado to chase in the midfield third. But when Colorado recovers the ball, I think they're making better decisions than what we saw in that first 15 minutes.
Beckerman sweeping pass to this near side. Finds its way through to Morales. Good challenge though, little toe in there from Pitanari. So the regular season just around the corner. Real Salt Lake's first home game is 2 weeks away. Home to Philadelphia Union, March 14th. That's a 7:30 kickoff. The Rapids have to wait until March 21st, NYCFC at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. That's a 2 p.m. kickoff. The tickets go to RealSaltLake.com and ColoradoRapids.com, respectively. Free kick then to Real Salt Lake in the last 10 minutes of the first half.
And again, Bobby Burling coming together this time with Luis Gill, and Burling recognizing as a 2v1 situation, marking up against Alvaro Sabarillo, that at times he's going to have to step into the midfield and help out Pitanari as well as Sarvas, and that time he does, commits the foul on Luis Gill.
Something the Rapids have this season are big players defensively.
Yep.
But Olave's going to cause some problems in there, as will Schuler.
Yeah, probably last year until the addition of Zat Knight, a little bit.
This one's floated in. Owen makes the decision early, barking at his back four, and gets distance.
I know, talking to Pablo Mastroeni last year, is one of the big things is he wanted more size across the back line, which he got in Burling and Schoberg. They wanted a little bit more bite in the defensive midfield responsibilities, which he got from Marcelo Sarvas. And again, this time Sabrio coming together with the right arm of Sjoberg right at the top of the 18-yard box.
I've been impressed by Sjoberg. You look, you've already mentioned Dom Dwyer. He came up against New England Revolution, Charlie Davies. Went up against Real Salt Lake with Sabrio for well, he is still a rookie, but he's come up against some very experienced MLS strikers, and he's stood his ground. He's held his own.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of a byproduct of having a tournament like this, and FC Tucson doing such a great job with this Desert Diamond Cup, is it affords MLS teams the opportunity to not have to go out of the country, travel, and find games that aren't comparable to what this league brings to the table week in, week out. And you can see how the matchups look. You can really, truly put a magnifying glass on young players and see if they can play at this level, as opposed to going out of country and playing second division teams that are usually playing their second or third team.
These two sides don't meet again until June 7th. That's at Rio Tinto. Many twists and turns in between now and then. And 2 return games at Dick's Sporting Goods Park, July 12th and October 3rd, into the final month of the regular season.
I think just the way the fans like it. Let it come down to the end when there's a lot on the line, as opposed to matchups that really don't mean a lot too early in the season.
The referee wanting this wall back the full distance. Sanchez looking for Badji, and also Gabby Torres. In fact, take your pick. There were 3 or 4 that could have got on the end of that. In fact, it's nudge wide for a Rapids corner.
I think that's one of the aspects for Real Salt Lake that they want to be just a little bit better at, is individually and collectively on set pieces and corners. What do the markups look like? Making sure you can fight through attacking the first ball and being proactive in the box as opposed to being reactive.
Sanchez wanders across to take this corner kick. Sarvis makes the run towards the near post, looking for the target man at the far post. Looping, teasing header back in. Raimondo comes, thinks better of it. Cleared for now. Again, looking for Sjoberg. Doesn't get a full contact on that. Cerner doesn't come down. Long legs of Sjoberg, giving away the throw-in over on the far side. Approaching the last 5 minutes. 1 goal apiece. Garcia after 8 minutes. Dylan Cerner after 28 minutes. A few yellow cards. It's been a little bit feisty at times. And these are two sides that are battling for places on a personal level for next weekend.
And again, we see another solid challenge and tackle in the midfield from Axel Sjoberg. His second time. Uncompromising, hard, rough challenge on Javier Morales, but he's timing it perfectly, and then just the angle. This is what you're going to get if Colorado signs James Riley, is the speed and athleticism, the recovery. The question is, because of his age, what does his health look like? But I would probably argue that he had a full year off and probably fresh legs because of that injury that he suffered just a couple weeks in to the MLS season in 2014.
Beckerman brings the ball away. Like a cynical from Burling there. He'll go in the book.
It's a foul any center back has to make if he gets caught stepping into the midfield.
As an official sponsor of FC Tucson, Chapman Automotive invites
If he lets that play get around him and Javier Morales is able to spin back into possession, it's Llamas on the loose. Real Salt Lake is going to be in a counterattack situation against a recovery defensive shape from Colorado Rapids.
Morales with the free kick. Just nudges it to Beckerman. In fact, they're going to take it again. A little early for the referee's liking. Mansally on this near side. On the inside left channel. Firm from Burling. Sanchez trying to bring that ball under control. Good recovery from Chris Schuler. And there's bodies forward for Real Salt Lake. Just ricochets onto the edge of the penalty area. Headed clear by Harrington as far as Badgie. Little tug of the shorts, I think, there. The referee spotted.
Beckerman sitting on that yellow card in the 17th minute. He's got to recognize when he can step. And again, this is still the learning phase with this kind of new shape, new identity for Real Salt Lake, is trying to figure out what that balance looked like. In that diamond formation, everything was reactive because everyone understood exactly what was going to happen. It was instinctual. I think everyone's still trying to figure this. If Kyle steps up in the midfield and there's a soft turnover behind him, what does that back four shape look like? What does the adjustment and the balance look like in the midfield and the back four?
Gill doing well to get the better of Savas. Riley tugging at the jersey of Garcia. James Riley might be spoken to by the referee here, suggesting that a repeat offender, be careful.
Yeah, it looks like he's giving him the classic persistent infringement warning.
Two minutes to go till the break, 1 goal apiece here. The 2015 Desert Diamond Cup, Keno North Stadium here in Tucson, Arizona. Space here to try and curl one.
Well, I think anytime in a situation like this, and speaking as a former center back, the idea is you absolutely protect your goalkeeper. But I think when you see the replay of this, I think this is not contact that Alvaro Saborio tried to make. As the ball takes a deflection, watch as Saborio comes across. I think he gets a bump or gets shielded out at the last second. And as Clint Irwin picks up and tries to go forward with the ball in his hands, I don't think there's any intent whatsoever. And I know you can't use the word intent, but I don't think in any way, shape, or form Alvaro Saborio was trying to create any type of contact with Clint Irwin.
You could also see the body shape as well, Danny, as he was trying to ride that challenge. You could see Irwin approaching, but he's seeing stars at the moment. It's Clint Irwin.
Yeah, and I have no problem with the reaction from the defenders for the Colorado Rapids, because the first order of business is always to protect your goalkeeper by any means whatsoever. I really don't understand what's taking so long for the referee to acknowledge that Clint Irwin just took a shot anywhere near around his head.
Yeah.
I understand that the ball's still in play, but I would think that common sense would prevail, and getting medical attention to the goalkeeper would far outweigh where the ball is in terms of being in play.
Well, there's a man that knows all about concussion, Pablo Mastroeni. Missed a large chunk of the 2012 season. It would be a very sad irony. It was in the final pre-season game of last year that Clint Irwin pulled a quad. And, in a game against New England Revolution, constant drilling of the ball from restarts into a strong breeze. Missed the first 3 games because of injury, but the referee's making sure now that he's okay.
Again, I love this first 45 minutes between these two teams. Got that Frank Underwood feel, two teams that just don't like each other, really unapologetic with their style. We've seen the yellow cards handed out. We've seen the tough tackling. And we've seen some great soccer. Good interchanging movement through possession that's created offensive opportunities.
It's about maybe changing perception. The Rapids wanting to make Real Salt Lake aware that they are not going to be the pushovers maybe that they were in 2014. They are going to be a tougher side to break down, a tougher side to face. We are well into stoppage time at the end of this first 45. You can download the MLS app from the App Store or Google Play for free. Look for our regular season edition update to the app just before the start of the season. Check out the latest pre-season news and videos, and then check the scores once the season starts. You can, as you say, download for free. Stoppage due to the injury to Clint Irwin, who we glad to say is back on his feet. The half-time whistle blows. It is all square at the break after 45 pulsating minutes of this 2015 Desert Diamond Cup decider. Omar Garcia after 8 minutes, and then Dylan Cerner after 28. One apiece at the break, 45 yet to come.
to remind you soccer fans that Bud Light is the sure sign of a good time. Here we go. Desert Diamond Casinos and Entertainment is proud to be the title sponsor of the 2015 Desert Diamond Cup, with convenient locations at Nogales Highway, south of Valencia, and at I-19 and Peter Line Road. Desert Diamond Casinos is your place to play. We have the hottest games around, experience our fantastic rewards, and the great deals available to our members. Visit ddcnz.com to become a Diamond Rewards member today. Tonight's halftime activity is Desert Diamond Casino's Bubble Ball Soccer. Arranged by Arkansas. Do you want to open a new business? You must get Bubble Balls to your business and take it to the next level. Don't wait any longer to get your dream started. Come and visit M&R Consulting Services, located at 5422 South 12th Avenue. Call M&R Consultants at 520-807-7521.
My dad gets those shirts anyways.
Think different and reach your goals. And now, direct your attention to the stadium
We get all of the
for
stuff
Bubble Ball Soccer.
This is my brother's favorite here. We get all that. We like t-shirts and all that. Because when they play, look at their I know, but you fall. No, but when they were running out, they were bumping into each other and they fell upside down. Except the falling when you're the shoes. Come on. I have a little. Macy! Macy! No, but those two are just sitting there. Keep it down! They're both really shiny. No, but I can go online.
By my count, it's 1 goal for the blue team and 1 for the red. The next goal will win our match.
It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. The whole point of the bubble thing is so it doesn't hurt. No, the whole point of the bubble thing is so you don't get hurt. That's why you're like. That's why we went. That's why we went to be with the dogs. Can I call for my brother?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call that one a draw. 1-1. Thank you to Desert Diamond Casino's Bubble Ball participants, and that was arranged by M&R Consultants. Come on, try a Culver's Butterburger. Butterburgers are made with 100% U.S. beef, seared on a hot grill to lock in the flavor, and served up on a lightly buttered toasted bun. Welcome to Delicious. We've got more halftime entertainment for you, ladies and gentlemen. This is the USA Youth Sports Girls on Fire and Dolphins soccer match here. USA Youth Sports Girls on Fire and Dolphins. Let's give them a hand as they play.
Elena, do you remember? Yes,
healthcare services, look for CARF accreditation when comparing providers. CARF accreditation is earned by providers that show commitment to service quality and a focus on the satisfaction of the people they serve. To find CARF accredited providers, visit us online at carf.org.
They look fun, so I want to do it.
Em, it's up your life. I texted you happy birthday yesterday.
Yeah, same with like 10 other people I didn't respond to.
It's fine. I just wanted to make sure you lived through it.
I get, yes. Thank you. I literally didn't respond to my
Nah,
best
don't worry
friend
about
for
it.
his birthday
Don't
today.
worry about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have an update from Salt Lake City at halftime. The University of Arizona 29, the University of Utah 28.
Oh, I don't plan on staying long, but I just was wondering if you were going. Sounds good.
I have 4. Oh, there's a microphone right here. I did not notice that. Here. Why is there a microphone? I know. Let's see, we got the Jordan out. Seems like we got the Jordan out once. Yeah. Well, we were ball rock.
The 2015 Desert Diamond Cup is brought to you by Desert Diamond Casinos and Entertainment.
Well, if you
Southern
guys went
Arizona's
over here, you would have been
entertainment
allowed to do it
destination.
too.
Coming live
That's
to the
the
Diamond Center,
champion.
comedian Angela Johnson.
The
on
most
March
valued
7th,
player.
and award-winning multi-platinum country star Tracy Lawrence, March 28th. Visit us at ddcaz.com for more information. That's Desert Diamond Casinos and Entertainment.
Elena, Emma thinks that me and her are gonna end up being sisters-in-laws. Because my brother and her brother are starting to be together. I mean, my brother and her sister. Yeah, and her sister are starting to be together a lot. I know. No, like, no. No, like yesterday. No, yesterday we didn't know where my brother was, and I was like, hate each other. All you have to do is argue. You're like, no. I was like, you can already tell you. You're supposed to do 30. Here. No, but yesterday we didn't know where my brother was, and we ended up being at Emma's.
I only respond to compliments. I know.
What not? They should really not continue. They're annoying. I'm pretty sure when they get into college, they're going to be they're just trying to find husbands. I'll give you money. You can have my life savings. I'll kill my child and you can have their life insurance money. Planning on killing them. I saw that nationwide commercial. I made it an accident. Do you know what? There's this really sad thing that happened. There was these twin sisters that one of them mentioned that the kids and there was a fire in the house. And then they had a locked in the room and they just left the kid to die. Oh wait, no, and the kid was 4. Oh, he lived till he's 4.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was
Here.
USA Youth. Thank you for a great show.
Here. Don't give him the ball. Don't give it to them.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I direct your attention to the local
Skal du hive de der?
stand.
Men skal du hive de der? Eller jeg fire. Ja. Spray pumping. Spray pumping. Ja. Men så trodde at du og søsteren var eller du bare sa at du var over og alle de tingene og begynte å lure at du og søsteren hennes
Er det her nå?
nei
Er det så spørre Emma?
hvis du kommer på trening en dag kan du sikkert se oss
That's amazing. You're on. What do you want to talk
du var en dag når Braden fikk 4 av de ballene
Mamma tok imot en ball.
ja
Hørte du om det?
Ja.
Av alle mulige folk tok mamma imot ballen.
det var den jeg tok ned og fikk signert
Ja, akkurat. Nei, du må vise meg hva Emma sendte til deg. Jeg er nysgjerrig.
Thank you
Nei,
to
hun
Park
gjorde det
International
som
for
video
providing
chat
those
eller
mini
noe.
soccer balls.
Er det
That's
chat
Park
jeg viser
International.
deg?
Nei, bare fortal meg at du var der.
Ja vel. Men hun
Simply Bits is a
videochat
proud sponsor
Ja.
of the 2015 Desert Diamond Cup.
Det var
Simply
det.
Bits
Du
delivers
sendte
fully
en
managed
tekstmelding.
internet.
Nei, hun sa at hun skulle gjøre og hun måtte fortelle meg noe
Hva
morsomt.
sa hun da? For at meg og Mackenzie gikk ut.
Simply Bits.
Ja,
Ja.
hun sa at vi gikk over og spilte spill med dem, som familiespill, når da gikk vi ut i byen. Og da begynte hun å si at hun trodde at det kanskje i fremtiden skulle noe skje mellom dem.
Hun ble helt sjokkert når hun så at jeg kom.
Ja.
Mackenzie viste meg hva jeg skulle lage som organ.
Ja, hun sa det også. Hun sa som hvordan de gjorde mest av tingene dere gjorde.
Ja, jeg tenkte hun spilte gitar. Nei, det var noe hun gjorde.
Men var det sånn du slo familien dem 2 ganger i familiespillet?
Hvem er du med? Mamma?
Ja, mamma.
Ok. Hvor er mamma? Sitter hun liksom i midten? Okej. Du ska få gå tillbaka en. Det kommer att det kör med förradnummer. Vet du förradnummer?
Det är som är.
P, okej. Vet du vad nummer?
Ja.
Vet du vad nummer? 12 och 13, okej. Kan vara sig.
That's like tredje frukosten. Well, you were going to bathroom.
Grej, då kan du vara då, okej?
Okay. Bara.
Welcome back, everyone, to Keenan North Stadium here in Tucson, Arizona. The second half just around the corner. 1-1 at the break between Real Salt Lake and the Colorado Rapids. And just to bring you up to speed, if it is level at the end of 90 minutes, straight to penalty kicks to decide the outcome of the Desert Diamond Cup. And somebody just suggested at the end of a long pre-season tournament, nobody really has a stomach for extra time. Just waiting to see if we've got any changes.
That is good to see. Clint Irwin up and getting a few touches. Just making sure that everything was okay after that collision late, the dying moments of the first 45 minutes with Alvaro Saborio just at the top of the 6-yard box. Again, we talked about this, Richard, from the opening whistle of this match. It's two teams that don't really like each other. They stand each other because they're staying in the same hotel, but once the whistle blows, you can tell that rivalry, that Rocky Mountain Cup rivalry, everything to play for. Even the new guys very quickly recognized how quickly the intensity would heat up when that whistle was blown.
And it's early bragging rights, isn't it? Yes, the 3 games to come in the Rocky Mountain Cup Series, but this will certainly give them some momentum going into the season and also going into those meetings between the two teams later in the year.
Yeah, bragging rights between the coaches who both played with the Miami Fusion together. But also, I think Pablo, his relationship with Kyle Beckerman and the partnership that they formed, which is one of the best in Major League Soccer for 4 or 5 years. And I think now, ever since expansion and Real Salt Lake coming into the Western Conference with the proximity of Rocky Mountains, it just became, it might not be the sexiness of what we see on the East Coast and the West Coast and all the different rivalries that are talked about, but this is a highly, highly contested battle every time these two teams face off.
I don't think we've seen any changes so far, so I'll run you through the Rapids side. Danny will take you through RSL. For the Rapids, Clint Irwin in goal, the back four of Riley, Burling, Sjoberg and Harrington. Burling's on a yellow card. The midfield pair they're holding to are Marcelo Savas and Lucas Pitanari. Then there's Vicente Sanchez, Gabby Torres and Dylan Cerner. Got the equalising goal on 28 minutes. Up top, Dominique Badji. For Real Salt Lake, they're unchanged as well, second half. Danny, do you want to take us through that 11?
Nick Romano in goal. Keep in mind, DeMar Phillips, Joao Plata still out injured, so Abdullah Mansali gets to start at left back. Schuler, Olave, Beltran over at right back. Beckerman, Gill, Morales, and a little bit of a triangle. Garcia over on that left-hand side. Sebastian Jaime over on the right, and Alvaro Saborio up top. Beckerman and Saborio sitting on yellow cards for the first 45 minutes.
Real Salt Lake get the second half underway. They are kicking from left to right in this second 45, wearing their training tops. If you weren't with us earlier, two teams that turned up with very similar coloured jerseys. There was a coin toss. The Rapids won. The Rapids got to wear burgundy. And there was a change for Real Salt Lake. Sjoberg had a busy first 45 minutes. Bobby Burling for Badji. Helped on. A little nudge from Cerner there. Play allowed to continue. Gill surging through the middle. Tees up Mansolet on the far side. Sjoberg wins that one in the air. They'll try again. What you can't see is off the ball is still a real battle had been going on between Saborio and Sjoberg. The referee's just having a little quiet word as they wander past.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you saw that, but the referee kind of peeked over his right-hand shoulder to the assistant referee on the near side. Just kind of gave that nod, like, keep an eye on these two. And I guarantee you these referees had an ongoing conversation. Now Jeff Cassar is up and having a conversation with the assistant referee on the near side as well. And again, when the one thing you know, if you're a fan of Real Salt Lake, and you recognize that Saborio is not afraid to mix it up on the ball or off the ball. And this is one of those situations where he's just got to be very, very mindful in the second 45 minutes how he carries himself.
Cernup to Torres. Good covering. Certainly Sjoberg as the defender has got more to lose if he concedes inside the penalty area.
Yeah, and that man, Bobby Burling, the only player for Colorado sitting on a yellow card, picked up for that foul that he made in the central part of the midfield, slowing down Javier Morales.
We had a bit of this first half, didn't we? There was that stop-start element because there were a number of unsavoury, tasty challenges that were going in. As a consequence, there was little pockets where there wasn't too much flow.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit surprised to see again that whistle blown. I have no doubt that it was a foul, but I would think advantage could be played and the referee could allow the players to find the rhythm in this match as opposed to, like you said, being a stop-start whistle-blown affair.
Sjoberg got to be careful there. Yep, the arms were up.
Well, every central defender knows that anytime you're trying to body up with an attacker near the top of the 18-yard box, the moment you put your hands around the arms, you're allowing the referee to see where your hands are. You're allowing him to make the decision. This distance, set-piece opportunity, Javier Morales. This is prime territory for the number 11.
There's plenty of bodies in the box for Real Salt Lake, but you would suspect this would be an attempt on goal. It's got them back at 10 yards. We're ready. Run across the middle, across the front of the wall. Somebody's down in the penalty area here. What we're going to see is a yellow card and a second yellow card, and there's a red. Is that Saborio?
Yep. Well, whatever happened off the ball, the referee immediately blew his whistle, came over, handed out the second yellow card, and then went straight for the red card after Sabo picked up his yellow in the 13th minute. Immediately, Jamison Olave, I was surprised based on his reaction, how quickly he turned and confronted the referee. Harrington, the player, down on the field and looks to be holding his face, but if there was any contact whatsoever with Saborio as he was trying to fight off and find some space, he had to be smarter in a situation like that to not get caught with his hand in the cookie jar.
Well, that's a situation where Real Salt Lake had the ascendancy, the free kick, about to take the free kick. And they're down to 10 men. Saborio's walking down just in front of us, speaking to the fourth official. Still looks a little puzzled.
Well, Jeff Cassar having an animated conversation with the fourth official, Foytis Bazakos. As Cassar sits down, Saborio's taking the long walk back across in front of the Colorado bench. And
well, if Morales can put this one in the back of the net. Like that. Absolutely wonderful from Morales. Round the wall, over the wall, and beyond Clint Irwin. Down to 10 men, and they've got their noses back in front. Real Salt Lake lead by 2-1.
But it goes back to an unnecessary foul committed by the rookie Axel Sjoberg. His foul on Sabrio led to the free kick opportunity. Taking a look at the free kick, the wall jumps absolutely inch perfect. Nothing Clint Irwin can do about that. Sabrio just sent off seconds ago. Javier Morales, brilliant free kick taken. They'll give Real Salt Lake 2-1 lead, 52nd minute.
It was a similar story at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. Real Salt Lake had a man sent off early in the second half and stood strong, but 1-0 up. And now 2-1 up and down to 10 men early in the second half. Badji gets the ball in. Ramondo strong in the 6-yard box.
In less than ideal circumstances for Jeff Cassar and Real Salt Lake now, finding themselves playing a significant amount of time. Pretty much 40 minutes of the second half down a man. So it changes the exercise completely for this quote-unquote starting 11 as they look to build sharpness, tactical awareness, fitness heading into the first match potentially of the season, pending the CBA issue that both sides are working out. But this is where Sabrio, right, wrong, or indifferent, just has to be a little bit smarter in his situation, recognizing that he was already carrying a yellow card, was already a target for the referees.
Devon Sandoval is getting ready to come on. Who's going to be sacrificed so that they can get that potency back up top? It's a wonderful set piece from Javier Morales. Takes something to get the ball up and down when you've got a 6'5" and 6'7" man in the wall. Harrington back to Sjoberg. Lave, watch that one. Got a little nudge for his troubles as well from Don Badji.
We'll see the first change of the night, and it's going to be Sebastian Jaime's sacrifice because of the red card to Alvaro Sabrio. So Devon Sandoval looked to play a like-for-like situation. But I think what we could see is kind of a hybrid going back to a 4-4-2 with a diamond. Kind of that idea with Real Salt Lake sitting a man down. A little bit more familiar, a little bit deeper for Javier Morales, and it looks as if Olmes Garcia and Devon Sandoval will be the two front runners.
Going to change things up then, Real Salt Lake. Morales to Beckerman, battling there on this near side. Savas, Torres, bit of space outside. Bit too much for James Riley on that occasion, though.
I think, Richard, you go back to that second yellow card handed out to Sabrio, and I thought what was interesting is, not to in any way, shape, or form say Michael Harrington was making a meal of it or doing anything to allow the referee to make a decision. It was interesting the lack of the reaction from the Colorado Rapids players. But Nick Armando, as he looks to clear that ball, took a touch from Gabby Torres as he was following through on his big clearance. Torres is going to go in the book 55th minute.
Well, this, in a sense, will play into Real Salt Lake's hands. Just a stop-start, and they're breaking up the play, and it's breaking up any kind of momentum or rhythm that the Rapids would look to get as they try and get back on level terms against the 10 men of Real Salt Lake. Nick Raimondo, though, is feeling the effects there.
Well, and it becomes an exercise, doesn't it, Richard, for both teams. For Real Salt Lake, how do they manage a 2-1 lead being down a man for the better part of 35 minutes? On the other side, for the Colorado Rapids, chasing the game, up a man, against a rival. How does this mentality look? What does the shape or the adjustments look? And how can Colorado now maybe establish better possession in the midfield third to create more chances, similar to what we saw kind of in that second phase of the first half?
Well, Nick Raimondo is still limping a little bit. So much so that he opted not to take that free kick.
He just gave the trainers the signal that he was going to be okay. But I guarantee you, we haven't seen the end of it. This has got that feel of a typical match between these two teams where you're seeing the yellow cards inch towards double digits by the final whistle.
We've only had 11 minutes of the second half. We had a goal, a sending off, and a few more cards of colours as well. Just a week away from the first game of the regular season for the Colorado Rapids on the road at Philadelphia Union, March 7th, 2 p.m. Mountain Time kickoff. Real Salt Lake are at Portland Timbers on that day, 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time. That's on KMYU. The Rapids, you can see that game on altitude. Dangerous ball swung in over to the back post, out for a throw-in for the Rapids over on the far side. Single game tickets and season tickets for the Colorado Rapids. Go to coloradorapids.com. And for Real Salt Lake, realsaltlake.com for ticket details. Their first home game is on March 14th against Philadelphia Union. Harrington looking for Torres to chase. Sabrio has made his way to the locker room. Real Salt Lake down to 10 men, but they lead by 2-1. Approaching the hour mark. If it is still level at the end of 90, or if it is level at the end of 90, of course, Real Salt Lake in front. Penalties will decide the 2015 Desert Diamond Cup. We're a long way from that at the moment. Live coverage of the 2015 Desert Diamond Cup on MLSsoccer.com, ColoradoRapids.com and RealSaltLake.com as we gear up for the start of the 2015 MLS season. The home opener for the Rapids, March 21st, NYCFC. Harrington with a throw, cut out by Beckerman, back to Carl Beckerman. He'll take the ball back to his goalkeeper, away to our left-hand side.
Richard, really interested to see the substitution pattern from Pablo, being up a man and knowing that you have players like Dylan Powers, Deshaun Brown available, even a Sam Cronin, players that are available to kind of settle things for you, but at the same time give you a little bit more of an offensive punch in that final third.
Pitanari sweeping the ball to Riley, back to Burling. Interested on your take on that, because as the defensive side that has lost the man,
yep,
you make a quick change to try and get that balance. So we just watch this ball whipped in, looking for Torres, and Badgie at goal, and that was not enough on it from the young player. As the player that has still got the full quota of 11 players, do you try and match that at the same time?
Well, I think for Pablo, it's recognizing what the substitution was from Real Salt Lake, and when you take off Sebastian Jaime, you take off a wing player that gives you speed and athleticism, and then potentially you have a like for like with this man, Devin Sandoval, who's going to be a little bit more central. He's not going to have that pull away speed to really test your back line. He's going to have to dig into the two center backs. So if I'm in a situation like Pablo, I'm thinking, well, how can I get a little bit more firepower offensively, fresh legs, an impact player on the field, while not necessarily sacrificing the defensive shape of the central midfield or the two center backs?
I'm looking through my fingers at the moment watching this game. Some of the challenges going in,
yeah,
they're full-blooded. There's no malice. It's just these are two sides that it's almost like it's the middle of June. It's they are at full tilt, these two sets of players.
Alpha Graphics on Palo Verde is a locally owned and operated full-service marketing communications company.
A little under half an hour to go. Real Salt Lake leading by 2-1, a wonder goal from Javier Morales. But they are down to 10 men. As the two teams were waiting for the free kick to be delivered. Alvaro Sabreo picked up a second yellow card. Onside, Gabby Torres. Badgie is streaking forward. There's cover for Real Salt Lake. Whipped across the 6-yard box.
Well, TV2 marking as Real Salt Lake's two center backs spread apart, less than ideal, but individually defensive positioning was good. And I like the fact that Gabby Torres puts his head down, looks to isolate 1v1, and he's not going for near post. He's trying to put it back across the 6. If it's on frame, it'll test Nick Raimondo. If it's a little bit to Raimondo's right, there's a potential for a tap in somewhere around the top of the 6-yard box.
Sjoberg wins that one in the air, and he's landed awkwardly. Free kick given, but I think that was seemed to be just a coming together at an aerial challenge, Danny.
Yeah, I think everything was clean about this challenge. I think unfortunately for Axel Sjoberg, as he goes up, his feet kind of go out from under him. Watch as he takes the bump, as he rises up. Watch the way his legs kind of arc underneath him. It's a clean battle between two, and see his feet come up, and then his plant foot goes out from underneath, comes just right down on his tailbone. What I hate seeing about that is defenders, the head whip back at the last second. You're talking about possible opportunities. I mean, you could think about Pablo want to not sacrifice defensively, but potentially bring in fresh legs. You could always sacrifice the two outside backs in Michael Harrington, James Riley. Potentially go with 3 in the back with a Shane O'Neill and bring on a Dylan Powers or Deshore Brown. There's always that weird balance as a head coach. You're the shot caller. You can take that information from your coaching staff, but ultimately, how do you impact the game in a positive way? And still make sure you got the right shape.
Well, there's options on the bench. There's Ramirez, the new signing. Cronin, Deshaun Brown, Dylan Powers as well. Axel Sjoberg is back on his feet. He's back out in the middle. Burling just gets a glancing header on that. Sandoval chasing down James Riley. Well, Fantasy Soccer Manager is here. Create your team and join leagues to show you the best fantasy manager in the league. We're offering $10,000 in prizes. Visit MLSsoccer.com for details. Pitanari collects to Harrington. Back to Pitanari. Bit of space to turn. Real Salt Lake standing strong. And Torres is offside. You just see on that occasion, Donny, the shape of that 4-man midfield for Real Salt Lake. They weren't looking to close down the space. They were just inviting him in.
Keep the game in front. Yep, keep the game in front. Force, I think, in a thought process like this now for Real Salt Lake, when you're trying to protect that lead and you know you just don't want to be chasing in an unnecessary fashion, is you want to force your opponent to break you down. Force them to make that killer pass. And if you can keep the game in front of you, and the way Real Salt Lake plays with their two outside backs, they're going to play in front of the two center backs. So as long as the center backs can have the right balance, can find the right time to step, I think Schuler and Olave, for the most part, have looked somewhat comfortable in dealing with these balls over the top.
Badgie. Nudges that one out of play on this near side. 25 minutes to go. Pre-season preparations crawling to a close for these two sides. Both heading back to the Rocky Mountain region on Sunday. And finalising plans and preparations for the opening weekend. Both on the road, both next Saturday. Real Salt Lake at Portland. The Rapids go east to Philadelphia.
3,600
if you could catch that. 3,692, a record attendance here at Keno North Stadium. And they're watching a real blood and thunder contest. This is, if this was the suggestion this was a regular season game, you wouldn't be surprised. The intensity of this contest from the very first moment, Dunny.
Yeah, and again, FC Tucson's done a fantastic job. You look at this crowd, and you look at the crowd on the 4 match days, and it really has been impressive to see the amount of supporters, not only locally and regionally, but the fact that you've had so many traveling in to make this kind of a destination type situation, not just for the teams themselves, but for the fans to be able to support early and often.
And those that do get a chance to come down, or have had a chance to come down on non-match days, the ability to just to go from training field to training field, and just seeing the big stars of Major League Soccer that are here, and they are very much accessible.
Yeah, I think all of us old guys are incredibly envious and jealous at the same time of everything that's happening right now in Major League Soccer, top to bottom. It's going to be very interesting to see how the whole collective bargaining agreement plays itself out, but there's one thing that neither side can really argue is the growth of this league in the past 20 years has been nothing short than phenomenal.
I think we'll all echo that. There's going to be a change here, though, for Real Salt Lake. Luke Mulholland is coming in.
Looks like it's going to be Olmes Garcia. His night's going to be over. Give you a little bit more of a central presence. Mulholland, I would think, would drop just a little bit deeper in the midfield, and potentially Javier Morales has kind of a hybrid free roll just underneath or off the shoulder of Devin Sandoval.
Mulholland in then, 68th minute. Wouldn't quite come down for Cerner. Beltran just tries to get some distance. Olave is proving difficult for Don Badgie to crack tonight. Pitanari wouldn't quite sit down for him. Drilling that one over the top of the crossbar.
Yeah, it took him a while, Richard, didn't it, to really find his rhythm in this match. He's been solid, but he hasn't really pressed himself into this game, and I think it's still a pretty big learning curve to try to find the relationship with Sanchez, Torres, Serna, and Sarvas, and it's going to take some time, but you get to see those little glimpses, don't you, of their ability, both individually and the technical side of it, and kind of tactically what the shape potentially looks like.
Lucas Pitanari arriving from Belgrano on the Argentine top flight. He is on a season-long loan. Cerner back to Sjoberg. Wayward by the Swede. Approaching the last 20 minutes, Real Salt Lake still leading from that Javier Morales free kick. Which I know I'm going to get some stick for. I think I called it about 5 seconds before he stepped up to deliver. Perfectly executed.
Well, now it's an exercise of decision-making defensively as a group, what the unit looks like, how do you find that right balance, but also offensively, can you create, knowing you're down a man, knowing you're up a goal, plenty of time left on this clock, and can you make the right decisions when the ball's at your feet?
Sandoval does well to win that in the air.
That's a good job right there. Clint Irwin staying proactive coming off his line. Devin Sandoval recognizing he's going to be in a passive offside position, can allow Abdullah Matsali that ability to overlap and potentially get on the end of his own pass.
Beltran under pressure from Cerner. Got Harrington in front of him. Force wide. The shin guards come out by the looks of it from somebody.
Good little skill check right there from Tony Beltran.
Beltran Sandoval in the middle. Pulled back too much for the man who's got 3 goals. 2 PKs though for Devon Sandoval. And 1 from open play.
A little bit surprised to see the lack of intensity for Colorado, knowing that Tony Beltran's already pulled up, sitting potentially inside the offensive 18-yard box, and how slowly it takes for Colorado to recognize a numbers up situation through possession, not being able to break down Real Salt Lake in the midfield.
Throw to the Rapids. Wayward. Looking for Sandoval. Burling backtracking.
I like the idea. I love the ball.
Sandoval stayed down.
Yeah.
Good to see him getting back on his feet. Well, I felt that. Harrington. As you can see, plenty of yellow jerseys back there, defending stoutly.
Well, I think anytime the camera kind of pulls back and you get a broader look of those yellow jerseys and how they're staggered, being down a man, kind of get an idea and the impression of what this veteran leadership is trying to accomplish, and ultimately really coaching on the field, executing and trying to take away all those passing lanes to the feet to the top of the 18-yard box.
Pitanari back to Sjoberg. While Holland just slips, gets back on his feet. Cerner struggling to find a way through.
I think there's just enough pressure right now that the Colorado Rapids in possession, they're not really turning into space. Again, you see those entry balls and coming right back out to a center back or an outside back. Is not on. Abdullah Mansali's athleticism just cheating enough to where Marcelo Sarvas, he wants to ping that big switch. He just can't find the lanes.
And watching it from here, we're not going to get a full view, as you said, Danny, but it's almost as if this team in yellow is on a piece of string, just being pulled from one side to another. They're moving as one. They're moving as a unit.
And it goes back to that old saying: is sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to play against a team that's down a man, because the focus defensively is more tactics. It's more about that shape. It's not taking risks. It's not taking those chances. I think Colorado's doing a good job moving the ball around. They just can't find those entry lanes. Everything's kind of an umbrella effect for Real Salt Lake defensively right now.
Well, what's happened here is actually that there is no midfield for the Rapids at the moment, because they're all now stacked up on the RSL's back line.
Well, and that's where you get hit sometimes with the soft turnover. That's where you get hit for the transition game.
Pitanari's the only man in midfield. Badgie's up top. Torres, Sanchez there in possession. Sarvas is a good way forward, as is Cerner. They are struggling to find a way into the final third.
Now, this is where you wish you could see the heat map, the offensive players and what their movement looks like versus Real Salt Lake's shape in their movement.
Sanchez looking to try and make something work. Back to Riley. Kept it in play. They'll try again. Pitanari. Inside right channel. Wayward. Falls to Sanchez. Going to have a go at goal. And Raimondo just clutch that one at the second time of asking.
Now, he's made a name for himself in this league with that left foot, and he cuts inside. He just gets that little glimmer of daylight, and he takes a shot, and that curling, left-footed, near-post shot, trying to pick out the upper V, forces Raimondo to backpedal quickly, try to keep the ball around as he pushed it around that left post.
Don Badgie offside, coming back from an offside position. The Rapids are going to make a change. Carlos Alvarez looks like he's readying himself to come in.
Another attack-minded midfielder is kind of a hybrid between playing a kind of central role and trying to find freedom in wide flank spaces. I think the one thing that Pablo and Colorado Rapids recognize based on the substitution pattern of Real Salt Lake is taking out Olmes Garcia and Sebastian Jaime. You took away that over-the-top threat. I think it's one of the reasons why the players for Colorado are taking those risks, committing so many numbers to the top of the 18-yard box.
into the last 15 minutes here at Keno North Stadium, the 2015 Desert Diamond Cup finale. Real Salt Lake leading by 2-1. Torres down under a challenge from Schuler.
Now Beckerman and Vicente Sanchez jawing at each other. Mid-season, Richard.
I was about to say, you can take the word friendly out of the term pre-season. This is a pre-season contest in every sense of the word, and it's in that sense is it very good exercise. From Torres, there's 3 players in the middle, and that's going to miss most of them. Cerner, if he can keep it in play, he can't. It's gone out of play for a goal kick.
RNA CPAs is a proud sponsor of FC Tucson. RNA has been serving Tucson in southern Arizona for over 70 years.
We're going to have a change. Carlos Alvarez coming on for Dylan Cerner. So that's like for like. Alvarez will play wide on the left-hand side. We talk about this being a contest. Neither coach will mind.
No.
Because a fabulous exercise. They want that intensity.
It is for probably the right reasons and the wrong reasons. For Real Salt Lake, the wrong reasons is you've got to hope that Alvaro Saborio can figure out a way, even at a preseason contest, to keep himself on the field. Right, wrong, or indifferent, he was in the eyes of the referee and should have never found himself picking up a secondary yellow. Now he's let his teammates down because they've got to play the better part of 40 minutes down a man, playing an exercise that no team wants to play, especially against a team like the Colorado Rapids.
Helped on by Badji. Alvarez with his first touch. In low. Pitanari's gone down in the penalty area. Looks up, suggesting he should have got a little more for that. The referee not interested.
No, Richard, you've had a close eye on these games. Are you surprised that guys like Dylan Cerner and Deshaun Brown, in a game like this, where you think heavy legs, you need a bit of the ball, you need to be able to stretch the field a little bit. From the casual observer, I would think that those would be 2 guys you'd want to get off the bench immediately.
Powers and Brown, I think part of the issue certainly with the introduction of Savas, Cronin, Pitanari is where do they position?
Yeah,
where do they position a
absolutely.
Dylan Powers?
Yep.
I think also they're wanting to have a good look at Don Badji and seeing what this new shape of a 4-2-3-1 with a rotation up top will do with Torres. But yeah,
the one thing you always know about the Colorado Rapids is they find those diamonds in the rough, and even if it's a first-round early draft pick, the immediacy in which you see these young players get their opportunity and be impact players throughout the course of the season is something that I think that's impressed me for the years of going back from Oscar Pereira to Pablo last year and what he's done. I think that Colorado's always had a great handle on identifying good young players and getting them integrated quickly.
Sanchez tries to go round the wall. Arguing with the referee that it was a handball. But in fact, it's a ball in the face because the player is down and he stayed down. Vicente Sanchez is still putting his point across.
Well taken free kick. Vicente Sanchez still not happy. Javier Morales going down like Madonna at the Brit Awards, just taking it, getting struck backwards. Good set piece opportunity for Colorado, and you don't get too many chances late in matches, so set piece chances, corners, free kicks from wide positions. Take another look at Javier Morales on that left-hand side. Free kicks taken, hands up. Hands in his chest, he's trying to pull his hands in. It looks like he took it right off the...
Right on the bridge of the nose almost.
Right on the bridge of the nose.
Yeah, well, that can make the eyes water. I'll download the MLS app from the App Store or Google Play for free. Look out for our regular season edition update to the app just before the start of the season. Then check out the latest pre-season news and videos. And then check scores once the season starts. Download the app for free from the App Store or Google Play. Into the last 10 minutes, there will be some stoppage time because of that injury to Morales. He's back up on his feet, just on this near side. Getting some fluids on board. Sam Cronin, I think, is going to be coming in shortly for the Colorado Rapids. just emerged from the bench. Morales back in play. Real Salt Lake looking to ride out, weather this storm, weather the pressure from the Rapids. The 10 men of Real Salt Lake since the dismissal of Alvaro Saborio. Seconds later, free kick from Javier Morales. Bent around the wall into the top right-hand corner. Heavy from Harrington. Can't keep it in play. Substitution, this one is for Real Salt Lake first.
Jordan Allen, who's been strong and a player RSL fans never really got the true opportunity to see last season before a knee injury cut his season short. Ended up taking a rough tackle up in San Jose last year, right when he was starting to find his rhythm and becoming an impact player off the bench. Luis Gill. Really interesting to see the fourth official kind of command Luis Gill off the field instead of coming right to the central part. But there's that central defender sacrifice. Sam Cronin coming over from the San Jose Earthquakes. He'll step into the midfield. Be a three-man back line now for the Colorado Rapids.
Little firm from Savas, back to Harrington. Turnover. Savas trying to get his body in between the man and the ball. Back to Riley, who's tucked in more centrally. A reminder, Real Salt Lake away at Portland Timbers next Saturday, March 7th, 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time. You can watch that game live on KMYU. The Rapids away at Philadelphia Union, 2 p.m. kickoff, Mountain Time. That game is live on Altitude TV.
That's one of those teams I'm really interested to see under Jimmy Curtin what they're capable of doing this year in kind of a watered-down Eastern Conference. Sporting Kansas City and Houston coming over to the West, and the introduction of New York and Orlando. How teams like Philadelphia, who seems like year after year are always within 3 to 5 points of that playoff line, how they continue to build, potentially rebuild, and what Jimmy Curtin can do in another year in charge.
6 teams make the playoffs, but with an expanded West and East. Some people would suggest it's going to be easier, but the teams, the quality, the improvements that have been made, it's going to be very tough, East and West.
Yeah, and
for different reasons.
Yeah, and honestly, I think a lot of it comes down to road form, for whether in the Eastern Conference or the Western Conference. I think what we see year after year is teams look comfortable when they're at home, but for some reason, when they travel and go on the road, you have a majority of the teams playing 2 different styles, playing to get a point, playing not to lose, versus being comfortable and looking to be aggressive and getting the 3 points. Not too many teams in this league have yet to have true identities where they're comfortable playing the same way, whether that be home or on the road.
You talk about pressure, expectation. NYCFC, Orlando, Toronto, Seattle, Portland, how they had a fantastic second half of the season in 2014. I think that's what makes it so interesting. Alvarez with the cross towards the far post. Sanchez was just winding up, wasn't he?
Now this is what Sammy Cronin will give you. He'll give you a player that's going to win those second balls, knock things down, and look to play quickly. I think very quietly the addition of Cronin and Sarvas, as well as the international signings, have really solidified that central part of midfield and given Pablo, for the first time under his charge, guys that are very similar as his approach was on the field, combative by nature, but very simple with the way they play.
And I think that's exactly right. We said right at the top of the broadcast that this is a side, second year that Pablo Mastroeni has been able to shape. And I don't think it's any coincidence that it's shaped in a similar style to the kind of player that he was.
Yeah.
Combative. Alvarez.
Well, I think this is one of the aspects for Real Salt Lake, with all that veteran experience, the game management side of things, and trying to burn time off the clock. For all the losses for the Wingerts, the Borchers, the Grabavoys, this is still a very familiar group of players amongst each other, and a very experienced group that understands in certain aspects of the game that it's okay to grind out results, especially when you're down a man and you've played the better part of 35 minutes down a man with a 1-goal lead.
Into the last 5 minutes plus stoppage time here at Keno North Stadium. Real Salt Lake still leading the finale of the 2015 Desert Diamond Cup by 2-1. They stubbornly stood strong defensively. Pitanari looking to try and change those. Torres, a bit heavy, looking for Sanchez. Cronin to Savas. Harrington on this near side. Just floating one towards the back post. Mulholland, Beckerman. Some acrobatics on both sides.
Well, and Colorado needs to find that right balance of putting balls in dangerous spots and looking to apply a lot of pressure, force Real Salt Lake into a simple mistake in their final third versus trying to generate a chance, generate an opportunity. It didn't come off right there, but you can see the idea. Keep possession where possession is valued. And if you're going to take a risk by playing in behind.
I think this is where Real Salt Lake have done well in frustrating the Rapids, and that ball that we saw there from Harrington, it was more of a hopeful ball over the top, and Torres is offside. Wouldn't have counted anyway.
Yeah, and Rich, for all that's being said and how well Real Salt Lake is trying to keep the game in front of them, I think Colorado has done a more than decent job in terms of possession and moving the ball and trying to find those breakdowns, trying to find those spaces where they can look to expose Real Salt Lake for a split second. It's just kind of the inability for that final product, that final touch, that final shot.
The seconds slip by. Colorado Rapids still looking, pushing, hoping to get back on level terms. Heavy from Riley and late on Mulholland. That will just allow a few more seconds to tick by.
Now, he's known as one of the nice guys in the history of Major League Soccer and a player that really bounced around through no fault of his own, more of a fault because of expansion. But James Riley is one of those guys, as he gives a little love tap right there to Luke Mulholland behind the play. He's one of those guys that always walks that fine line where he's able to get away with these fouls because he's known as such a nice guy. But you just wonder when that persistent infringement of the fouls he's committing ends up having him see yellow.
Harrington battling on this near side. Free kick given against Harrington.
And again, a couple unnecessary fouls leads to some valuable time being knocked off the clock from Real Salt Lake.
Into the last minute, 4 minutes of additional time, we're being told. Well, not quite there yet. Not too concerned about attacking this one, Real Salt Lake, in the sense that they've got plenty of bodies back. They're not packing the Colorado Rapids penalty area, just 2 bodies in the box. Mulholland on the edge and 4 players back, 3 of them along the halfway line. Takes a deflection wide of the mark, off the back of Michael Harrington. Corner kick, again still not committing bodies forward as we enter stoppage time at the end of the 90 minutes. The 12th game of 12. The referee is urging Real Salt Lake to get a move on in stoppage time, which I always find a little ironic because in doing that it allows a few more seconds to tick away.
I think a lot of players will tell you it's the game inside the game in a situation like that. You do anything that infuriates your opponent if you have the lead. Do everything to try to recover the ball as quickly as possible if you're chasing the game.
Sanchez. Cronin.
And he's a player, Sanchez, Richard, I've been very impressed with. I've always been impressed every time I've seen him step on the field for the Rapids. But he looks fit, he looks active, he looks healthy, and he's got a superb left foot on him.
Alvarez into the penalty area, finding Badji. Badji straight at Raimondo. That was a very, very good chance for Don Badji.
Well, Alvarez doing a fantastic job down the left-hand side. He offsets the defenders just a split second, enough time to find the feet of Badji. Positive first touch, but Badji's either got to go for power over placement or tuck that ball a little bit further away from Nick Raimondo. For Raimondo, didn't really have to do much as that ball just hit him right in the chest.
90 seconds or more into the 4 minutes of additional time. And the Rapids coming forward once again. Beckham just looking to try and get distance downfield. Beaten finalists in 2013 against Seattle Sounders. Real Salt Lake looking to put that one right this evening. Cronin. Alvarez, if he can get the ball back. The answer is no. He runs that one out of play.
Well, Chris Schuler not happy with the assistant referee on the far side. He wanted that flag raised on the early entry ball, but for Alvarez, I know the angle's tight. I know he's feeling pressure. He's got to figure out a way to get that ball back across the front of the goal mouth. Even a defender facing his own goalkeeper does not want to take a touch in that situation.
Helped on by Sandoval, just getting some distance. That's all they want to do at the moment, as far away from their own goal as possible. Approaching the last minute of stoppage time. Is there one final push for the Rapids to take this game to penalties? Cronin straight into the body of Savas. Pitanari was the intended target. Cronin will try again. The big man is up there, Axel Sjoberg. And Schuler wins that in the air. That is going to be put anywhere, and it's out for a corner kick. Marcelo Savas scampering across to take it.
It's got to be quality service. It's got to be accurate with pace behind it. Good hard runs to the box. Irwin's inside as well.
Not a great delivery. Not a great delivery at all. Alvarez with his back to goal. Referee looking at his watch. Whistle in mouth. Maybe one last effort outside of the boot. Heads go up. And Raimondo will just watch that one sail wide of the mark. And I think that will be the last effort of the game. The referee asking for the ball, I think. And he's about to call time. He has. And Real Salt Lake have claimed the 2015 Desert Diamond Cup. Goals from Olas Garcia on 8 minutes. An equaliser from Dylan Cerner on 28. And the winning goal just seconds after Alvaro Sabreo was sent off, coming from the boot of Javi Morales on 51. A curling free kick around the wall. What a game, Danny, that was.
Absolutely. Everything that we expected from these two teams. I think for the Colorado Rapids, they'll be disappointed that they couldn't take advantage of being up a man for nearly 40 minutes. For Real Salt Lake, disappointment that Alvaro Sabreo saw red in the 50th minute, but the positives that come away is they were able to grind out the 2-1 win, and more importantly, battle through being down a man for 40 minutes. It's something that they wanted to work on after last year, conceding a little too often in the late stages of matches.
Well, thanks to FC Tucson for hosting, and to Desert Diamond Cup organisers for a fantastic tournament over the last couple of weeks. It has been a wonderful exercise. Some great soccer on view as well. The winners of the 2015 Desert Diamond Cup. Congratulations to Real Salt Lake. They've beaten the Colorado Rapids by 2-1. From Tucson, it's goodbye.